Suddenly, and without warning, humanity was eradicated in one day. Explosions went off, car crashes, people vomiting their blood and dying instantaneously, and planes crashing from the sky. It was the end. Except that it wasn't. Children under the age of 13 survived the virus that mysteriously spread, and with it giving rise to a faction that existed for eons, but is now ready to face the light, which is kind of ironic since they're vampires and all that. These cloak-clad beings announced that they're willing to protect children from the virus and protect them, and in return, they're able to take their blood whenever they need it. Practically, it's raising cattle for the slaughter. Yuichiro, the main character, and his friend Mika are some of those countless children stuck at the mercy of these villains. One day, Yuichiro has enough and tries to fight back with his weak, frail child body. And clearly he fails, as the vampire attempts to drop him to his death, and with Mika desperately trying to stop him, a vampire noble by the name of Bathory walks by, and clearly Mika knows him and asks him to stop the other vampire from killing Yuichiro, which he does. And before leaving, all he says to Mika is to join him in his chamber later. This has sus written all over it. Clearly he's feeding off of Mika in return for gaining his favor. He then turns his gaze to Yuichiro and urges him to join as well, in which Mika intervenes and interrupts him, declaring he'll do it alone to protect his friend. Afterwards, they have a fight, since Yuichiro knows exactly what Mika agreed to, and he's mad at him for doing so. On his way home, he finds that Mika provided them with food, and one of his orphaned friends is cooking it. When Mika returns, Yuichiro is still mad, but he reveals that he was able to steal a vampire-killing gun, as well as a map of their location to help them escape this place. On the next day, they prepare to leave, following Mika and his map through the various areas and evading the guards on patrol. Once they reach the exit, they find Farid waiting for them in ambush, revealing that it was all his plan all along to lure them and hunt them down, since he enjoys a prey that tries to escape from him. And just then and there, he kills everyone, save for Yuichiro and Mika, who desperately try to fight back with the gun they have. But he's too fast for them. Mika is then impaled and gets his arm cut off. And with Farid busy killing Mika, a pissed off Yuichiro fires the gun at his head point blank and manages to kill him. Meanwhile, guards are on the way after they heard the commotion, and Mika is laying there, drowning in his own blood. Yuichiro tries desperately to take him along, but he's already gone, pushes Yuichiro away and orders him to run away as far as he could. He lost the only thing he ever had close to a family in an instant. And as he ran, he stumbles on snow, marking his escape from that accursed place, and meets 3 people in cloaks who are actually from the Demon Army Division, an army made for the sole purpose of killing the vampires. The leader of the group decides to use him as a test subject to discover how to weaken or kill vampires. And Yuichiro just straight up runs to him and hugs him, crying his heart out, relieved to see another human for a change. Clearly, all of this so far is his origin story. And 4 years later, we see him as an adult, clad in the armor of the Demon Hunting Division, helping 2 others like him kill a monster terrorizing the area. But he gets suspended since he ignored a direct not-to-kill subject order. Fast forward, he's bored out of his mind in class when the girl behind him, clearly the main female, introduces herself to him. She is Shinoa Hiraki, a surveillance officer sent to assess his behavior, and if he doesn't pass, she'll report him to the division, and he'll be suspended for an even longer time than he expected. Clearly, he's outraged at what she said. And I mean, who wouldn't really? All is good, but one thing I don't get is how is there people alive that are above 13? Shouldn't the virus have eradicated everyone older than that age? Well, it went out to be a hoax made by the vampires to lure defenseless children to them. What the virus really did was kill 9 people out of a group of 10 and create abominable monsters like the one Yuichiro killed earlier. And even though humanity was almost eradicated, they endured and rebuilt humanity thanks to the collective efforts of many people, including Ichinose, the leader of the platoon that Yuichiro met all those years ago. Shinoa then gives a letter to Yuichiro from Ichonise, mocking him and making fun of the fact that he can't even make a single friend or have a girlfriend, and that he doesn't need such pathetic people like him in his platoon. Leaving the school premises, he encounters Shinoa again, as well as a kid being bullied called Yoichi, whom he helps and gets beat up for it after that incident. They buy groceries and bond over sad sob stories of their pasts, like the reason behind Yoichi trying to join the platoon and the fact that his sister died in front of him to protect him and hide him from vampires, and that he wants to avenge her. He laments his weakness to do so, especially since he failed the exams to join the platoon, but he isn't giving up anytime soon. In that exact moment, an explosion happens and everyone is freaking out since a vampire infiltrated the school. Yuichiro rushes off to get his sword and fight back the vampire, and he's doing fine so far. He even manages to cut off her arm. But then, things take a darker turn, as she now holds hostage, threatening to drain dry. Luckily for them, Yoichi rushes into the class and disorients her just enough for Yuichiro to attack her. Then she drops him out of the window and fall to the ground with his sword impaling her. But since she's a vampire, such a wound is far off from killing her. Until Ichinose shows up, kills the vampire with his cursed sword, saves him and commends him on his efforts that saved countless lives. Only then to taunt him with the fact that he's still not allowed to join if he doesn't wish to work with the team and just rely on himself all the time. Only then for Shinoa to make fun of him and the fact that he does the exact same thing, and Yoichi is glad that the fall didn't damage his friend, and as he rushes to him he trips and knocks Yuichiro out cold. Ichinose then realizes that he actually did make a friend after all, and now had to keep his word of letting him join. In his coma, he dreams of the same dream. He's back in that castle with Mika and the other orphans, leaving him behind and disappearing into the darkness. It's probably hidden guilt inducing such dreams. After he wakes up, he finds Shinoa and Yoichi next to him and discovers that he was accepted along with Yoichi due to the way they protected each other during the attack. Remember the 3 bullies? Yeah? Well, they're clearly not the brightest trio in the school, but even then a donkey with dyslexia and 1 foot would know better than to try and open a door to a forbidden room sealed with hundreds of talismans and spells. However, they did just that, and the door opens before them. Meanwhile, the girl Yuichiro saves thanks him and gives him a love letter, which makes Shinoa jealous. She then demonstrates her skills and shows Yuichiro her cursed weapon form, which is a big-ass, cool-as-hell scythe that unleashes magical flames. In the hype of the moment, Yuichiro declares that if he beats her in a one-on-one, he gets to have this cool-looking weapon for himself. Of course she accepts and proceeds to mop the floor with his face, which is kind of hilarious. After that humiliating defeat, the 2 bullies find Yuichiro and ask for his help, since their idiot of a friend entered the forbidden room and never made it out. On the way there, Shinoa tells him that this room harbors a powerful demon and cursed weapons. Yuichiro knows that he needs such a powerful weapon if he hopes to fight against the bloodsuckers, so he doesn't let such a chance go by. He enters the room and finds the 3rd stooge in a trance holding a cursed axe in the middle of a pentagram. Without giving it any thought, he rushes in with his sword to take the axe from him, but he can't until he discards his sword. That is, after doing so, he successfully takes the axe from him. And as he turns around to tell his friends, he sees Mika's face in front of him, and he's back in their old home. To which Mika then embraces him and tells him to avenge them all, while black mist rose from the ground. Yuichiro figures out it's the demon trying to possess him like before, and shoves Mika away from him, breaking the illusion made to lure him in and gaining a new powerful cursed axe. Speaking of bloodsuckers, Ferret is still alive, and so is Mika too, who is a vampire himself now. During the night, another monster appears and thrashes around the city, endangering the refugees. There in the tents, they're all screaming and running for their lives, and out of nowhere, Mika appears and easily kills the monster. The humans rejoice and are elated by the fact that someone saved them. From behind, Mika emerges a vampire, claiming that they only saved them since they see them as cattle meat for their sustenance. But even then, a young girl thanks Mika for saving her and offers him her blood as thanks. He then remembers his time as a child with Yuichiro and how his foolish plan killed everyone he loves. Well, almost everyone. Then we discover that even the supposed vampire killer gun was just a sham, and all that Farah did was just to amuse the princess Cruel Tepes, to which she remarks that many died, and one escaped while stepping on his neck, clearly with the ability to snap it whenever she wished or desired, but she spared him anyway and then gives Mika her blood, turning him into one of them. I swear this series is all about the damn back and forth with the occasional flashback. We're back to Yuichiro's side of the story, having been accepted into the Moon Demon Company along with Yoichi and Shinoa. They make their way to class where they introduce themselves. And since Yuichiro is such a dumbass, he still declares that he's here for revenge, killing vampires, getting a weapon, and couldn't care less for something as making friends or such. To which Gurren responds back to it with a punch for being a complete idiot. And if that wasn't enough, heading to his seat, he immediately picks a fight with a guy named Kimizuki Shiho. And Gurren kicks both their asses, sending the 2 of them flying into the door face first. We met Shiho now. We need to know his sad sob story, because for some reason everyone got one in this show. He asked Gurren to accept him into the Demon Company, since he needs the money desperately for his dying sister, inflicted with the world-end virus, revealing that her condition is critical. On the next day, the tests to get a weapon commence, and Shiho is paired up with Yuichiro, the last person he wanted to be paired and cuffed to. With the start of the test, they clearly can't work together for the life of them and end up getting a low evaluation score. The test abruptly stops and the dummy stopped moving, announcing to Xiao that his sister's condition somehow suddenly became worse and that he had to go see her before it was too late. He refuses at first, saying he wants to continue the test only to get punched by Yuichiro, who tells him that nothing is more important than family and that he needs to go see her right now before she's gone, and he regrets his choice forever. Moved by his words, they then leave together to the hospital, in which the doctor explains how serious her condition is and the level her health is deteriorating, and adding that she should move her to a new, well-equipped hospital as fast as possible if he wishes her to survive, which is why he needs to pass so desperately, and Yuichiro heard it all. He then tries to get his spirits up, urging him not to give up for his sister's sake. Just like that, instant friendship. Meanwhile, the demons are having a secret gathering to rally their forces against the demon army company and eradicate them, and even though Mika was there, he seemed uninterested at best, thinking only of how to find Yuichiro, his dear friend. With that, we conclude this recap, and I truly hope you enjoyed it and gave you a reason to put this show on your watch list and check it out. With that said, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to this video, and until next time, see ya!
If you got a problem to speak out, I'm a cowboy and let's bebop. Put Stein skate at the treetop. Berserk what I'm keeping on rewatch. Hunter, I freak out. When I'm in my room, you should keep out. I'm a ghost in the shell, push through hell like gun grave. That's a story to tell if you